Trump says the U.S. military has already achieved considerable success in Iran and vowed to continue fighting until all war objectives are realized. Emmanuel Macron has ordered an increase in the country's nuclear warhead stockpiles in a bid to bolster European security in the face of threats.
European gas prices jumped by as much as 45% on Monday after Qatar officially halted its gas production due to Iranian strikes on its facilities.
The US and Israel's war on Iran continues with no end in sight after the first strikes on Tehran took place on Saturday. The conflict has expanded to the wider region after Iran responded by launching its own air attacks across the Middle East. Meanwhile, Israel also struck Hezbollah targets in Lebanon on Monday in what it said were retaliatory strikes for the group's earlier involvement. At a White House event on Monday, U.S. President Donald Trump outlined his main objectives for the war. U.S. forces are out to destroy Iran's missile capabilities, wipe out its naval capacity, and prevent it from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Other stated war aims include ensuring that the Iranian regime can no longer fund militant groups outside of its borders. Trump noted that U.S. attacks have so far dealt considerable damage.
This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime.
He also added that the U.S. attacks are ahead of schedule to achieve the war's goals, stressing that his country's military has the ability to continue fighting for as long as it takes.
We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always, and we have right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that.
The U.S. president also claimed that Iran's missile program was intended as a cover-up to the secret development of nuclear weapons. Tehran, striking a defiant tone, warned that the United States will, quote, no longer be safe. In a landmark speech, French President Emmanuel Macron has ordered an increase in the country's nuclear warhead stockpile, vowing he would be resolute in his response if the country's vital interests were threatened. The speech comes as European security is being tested on multiple fronts, from Russia's war in Ukraine to the expanding Iran war, which targeted Cyprus, an EU member state, on Monday.
Nous devons renforcer notre dissuasion nucléaire face à la combinaison des menaces, et nous devons penser notre stratégie de dissuasion dans la profondeur du continent européen, dans le plein respect de notre souveraineté, avec la mise en place progressive de ce que j'appellerais une dissuasion avancée.
France has an estimated 290 nuclear warheads, according to the latest figures released by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. Macron did not indicate how much of an increase he wants to add to the country's arsenal, but noted that Paris will no longer disclose the size of its capabilities moving forward. The address does not come in response to the ongoing war in the Middle East, with French officials stressing that it was planned well in advance. The French leader also said he wants to implement a program in which French deterrence is spread out across Europe, and noted that 8 countries have displayed interest in hosting these programs. Germany announced it would participate in French nuclear drills and, quote, the development of conventional capabilities with European partners.
European gas prices jumped by as much as 45% on Monday, hitting €46 per megawatt hour after Qatar officially halted its gas production. The surge follows a reported attack on Qatar Energy's massive North Field facilities, which comes amid the wider fallout of US and Israeli strikes on Iran. Global energy flows are now under threat as Tehran moves to block the Strait of Hormuz, a maritime choke point that carries 20% of the world's oil supply. Experts warn that while the strait has never been fully closed in modern history, current satellite data shows tanker traffic has virtually halted. The disruption is a major blow to Europe, which relies on Qatar for up to 14% of its LNG imports since moving away from Russian energy. The crisis hits at a time of vulnerability, with EU gas storage levels currently below 30% as the winter heating season comes to an end. In Germany and France, reserves have plummeted to just 20%, putting the bloc's largest economies at risk of intense global competition for remaining supplies.
Two unmanned drones that were headed in the direction of a British military base in Cyprus were intercepted on Monday, a government spokesperson has said. The incident took place a few hours after an Iranian attack drone landed on an airfield in the base on Sunday night, causing minor damage. The British Royal Air Force Base is located in the Akrotiri area of Cyprus. Residents have been evacuated in the areas surrounding Akrotiri, as well as those around an additional British military base in Dekelia.
Μετά τις απρόκλητες επιθέσεις στο έδαφος της Κυπριακής Δημοκρατίας, διαβεβαίωσα τον κύριο Πάλμα ότι η Ελλάδα, καθ' όλη την διάρκεια της παρούσας κρίσης, θα συμβάλλει με κάθε δυνατό τρόπο στην άμυνα της Κυπριακής Δημοκρατίας, ώστε να αντιμετωπιστούν οι απειλές και οι παράνομες ενέργειες στο έδαφος της.
Paphos International Airport was also evacuated as a precaution. The Greek government has since sent 2 frigates and 2 F-16 fighter jets to support defense operations on the island. The Cypriot government has reiterated that its own role is limited to humanitarian assistance and it is not taking part in any military operations.
Θέλω να είμαι σαφής. Η πατρίδα μας δεν μετέχει με ιονδήποτε τρόπο κι ούτε προτίθεται να αποτελέσει μέρος οποιασδήποτε στρατιωτικής επιχείρησης. Παραμένουμε προσιλωμένοι στον ανθρωπιστικό ρόλο τον οποίον υπηρετήσαμε όλο αυτό το διάστημα, πάντοτε ως μέρος της λύσης και όχι του προβλήματος και θα συνεχίσουμε να λειτουργούμε με την ίδια υπευθυνότητα.
In just a few days, the UAE has faced an unprecedented wave of drone and missile attacks. The UAE Ministry of Defense says Iranian forces have launched 165 missiles, 2 cruise missiles, and 541 drones since February the 28th. Most were intercepted, 152 ballistic missiles and both cruise missiles were destroyed, along with 506 drones. But some did get through. 35 drones fell inside the country, causing material damage, and 21 struck civilian areas. The human cost has been stark. 3 people were killed and 58 others were injured. Debris for interceptors caused further damage to homes and property. And just behind me, the hotel was struck by a drone last night, a reminder of how close the attacks came to residential and civilian areas. Officials say the UAE's air defences remain fully operational and ready to respond to any further threats, but they warn the danger is far from over. Behind me, the Palm Jumeirah looks peaceful and calm now. That's a stark contrast to yesterday. Last night, the sky above lit up with interceptor fire. Loud explosions shook the area as missiles and drones were destroyed mid-air. It's a vivid reminder of the risk that hung over the city. Today has been tense, but in this rare moment of calm that we face right now, officials are urging everyone to remain vigilant and follow guidance from embassies and the government. Amid this uncertainty, there are moments of solidarity and resilience. Residents and businesses have come together to support those most affected. Hotels like My Leo here are offering free rooms to travellers stranded by cancelled flights. Volunteers are helping to deliver food and essentials to those sheltering in place. And neighbours are checking on each other, showing a united front in the face of these unprecedented attacks.
Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković insisted on Monday that the European Union's position on the events unfolding in the Middle East was very clear and unified, despite the negative reaction that greeted a statement released by Brussels on Sunday.
We shall continue consultations. I think that all the statements which were issued so far, but for maybe 1 or 2, were very, very clear and unified.
The EU's top diplomat Kaja Kallas said in a statement that the EU is taking all necessary steps to ensure the safety of EU citizens in the Middle East and warned that further escalation could threaten the region. Spain and Slovenia blocked the use of stronger language, with Madrid in particular condemning Saturday's US-Israeli strikes on Iran. But Plenković argued that the lead on the topic was rightfully taken by France, Germany and the UK.
I think the lead has been taken by the E3, where 2 member states of the European Union are participating due to the fact that they were the most involved in the talks with Iran.
The 3 countries released a joint statement in which they warned that they stand ready to take defensive action to destroy Iran's capability to fire missiles and drones at their source.
European markets cratered on Monday morning as investors react to the dramatic weekend of US and Israeli strikes on Iran. The Euro Stoxx 50 shed 2% at the open, with indices in Paris, Milan and Madrid all seeing sharp declines as the conflict threatens global shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. In Spain, the IBEX 35 is the worst performer, dropping more than 2%, while London's FTSE 100 remains more resilient, falling just 0.3%. The sell-off followed a free fall in Asia, where Japan's Nikkei 225 dropped over 2.3% before the European bells even rang. In the UAE, regulators have shut down both the Abu Dhabi and Dubai exchanges for the next several days to prevent panic selling. While stocks sink, energy prices are soaring, with a barrel of US benchmark crude initially surging 8% amid supply concerns. Assets considered safe are also on the rise, with gold up 2.5% and silver climbing by 2% as the market braces for further escalation.